Hey everyone! Welcome to my channel, where we dive into the world of books and novels. If you're new here, pause the video, go to my channel, and watch the first part of Jumana novel so you can understand the story. This is the second part, called Ababil. After a long thought, ASIF was convinced by the Wise One's suggestion, but he wasn't convinced at all by Al-Shamali's suggestion. He couldn't wake Sarabi from her sleep just to tell her that they had suddenly decided to leave her behind. "We'll withdraw without telling her anything." "In that case," said Al-Shamali, taking out a money bag from his pocket and continuing, "we'll leave this amount here. It might be useful for her when she wakes up and doesn't find any of us." And before they left, ASIF remembered something. "Where's Iqlil?" The Wise One pointed with his snout toward the bed where Sarabi was sleeping and said, "He's sleeping there with her," and added, "I didn't know this orange bird was such a ladies' man." ASIF approached him carefully so as not to accidentally wake Sarabi. "Iqlil, wake up," he whispered. Iqlil opened his eyes, looked at him, and asked, "What? We're leaving. And Sarabi? We'll leave her behind." "No," said Iqlil. "We won't leave Sarabi." It was the first time he had disobeyed an order from ASIF. "I don't have time to explain the reasons, but I order you to move immediately." The Wise One intervened. "Have you fallen in love with her, O orange bird?" He looked at him angrily, feeling that he was the reason behind this suggestion, and he almost attacked him if it weren't for Sarabi waking up at that moment. "What's going on?" she asked lazily. "Why all this commotion?" Everyone pretended nothing was happening. ASIF said, "Nothing. We just wanted to. We wanted to." He didn't know how to answer, so he said, "Say something, Al-Shamali." As for Al-Shamali, who wasn't used to lying, he said, "The Wise One will tell her everything. He's the one with the idea." "All right, I'll tell the truth." Then the Wise One looked at her for a while, and her beauty embarrassed him from telling the truth, so he said, We just wanted to take Iqlil to give him a bath. He hasn't bathed in a long time. Come on, Iqlil, come with us," Sarabi said innocently, sniffing Iqlil's feathers. "But he smells nice." Females came to this earth only to ensnare all creatures in the traps of their love. Perhaps that's why Iqlil felt he belonged to Sarabi, and that he couldn't leave her and go far away from her. When ASIF, the Wise One, and Al-Shamali were sure their plan had failed, they decided to withdraw and think of an alternative plan. But before they left, Sarabi reached out her hand and grabbed Asif's hand, saying softly, "Please don't go. I won't be able to sleep like this." He felt an electric current shock his heart when she held his hand. "Try to sleep. We won't disturb you again," he said nervously. "I won't be able to." "Why?" "I can't sleep easily after someone wakes me up." "What do you want me to do so you can sleep again?" "Why don't you tell me a story? That way I'll fall asleep quickly." The Wise One intervened, saying, "Listen, Sarabi, we came here for a difficult mission we want to accomplish, and we didn't come here to play babysitters for anyone. Try to sleep on your own. Come on, Asif, let's go." Then he added, winking, "So we can find an alternative plan to bathe Iqlil. I can't stand his smell anymore." He sat on the edge of the bed, running his rough hand through her soft hair, as he had done in times past, and looked directly into her eyes, something he wasn't used to, then whispered to her tenderly, "A long, long time ago, there was a great army of humans, jinn, birds, and winds. They were all following a man named Prophet Solomon. That great army was passing through a huge valley called the Valley of the Ants. Then a small ant named Jersa shouted, ordering the rest of the ants to enter their homes before Solomon, and his soldiers crushed them without realizing. And when Prophet Solomon heard, the Wise One interrupted the story, whispering, 'All right, she's asleep. Take Iqlil and let's go.'" ASIF turned to the Wise One and said, "I won't leave this girl behind, but she might die with us." "What's gotten into you, you fool?" "The fool is the one who leaves a girl he promised to protect." Al-Shamali asked, "Are you sure about what you're saying?" ASIF nodded his head in confirmation, then said confidently, "I'll stay with her and protect her with my life, and I'll never leave her." As soon as he finished his last sentence, the Emperor's pendant hanging around his neck began to glow, emitting a strong yellow beam of light through its inscriptions, visible even through his clothes. It wasn't long before they heard a voice in the inn's wing, resembling the sound of an old windmill, saying, "You have become a man." Then, out of nowhere, a dark-skinned woman with short, fiery red hair appeared in the air. She wore a long, tight dress that clung to her slender, alluring figure, and in her hand, she held a long staff resembling a royal scepter. "Who are you?" ASIF asked, springing to his feet. "Kizran," the woman replied. "I am the minister Kizran." Now, he understood that manhood is not about growing older but about actions. When fate had placed him before two paths, either to flee or to fulfill his promise, It was, in truth, presenting him with two choices: to escape responsibility and remain a coward for life, small in his own eyes, or to take responsibility like a man and become one. Everyone was astonished by the sight of this fairy. Even Sarabi, who had been asleep, woke up startled, whispering fearfully, "Who is this woman?" Akil whispered back, "Kizran." As for the sage, he was frozen in terror, as if he had fallen into a pit of quicksand. Only Al-Shamali remained composed amidst the awe of the scene. Kizran spoke. "What do you desire, son of the emperor's family?" "Revenge," he said. "Revenge on the one who killed my mother." "Do you know who killed her?" "Fong of the Elephant." "Do you know who Fong of the Elephant is?" The sage interjected. "He's the leader of the Gatham organization." Kizran turned to him and said, "No one asked you." The sage laughed nervously and said, "Sorry." Kizran turned back to Asif and asked, "Do you know who Fong of the Elephant is?" "The leader of the Gatham organization," he replied. Then Kizran said, "Do you also know that he is none other than Tughan, the king of the Ababil kingdom?" Fear multiplied in the hearts of the friends when they heard this information. Standing against Tughan meant certain death, but none of them spoke or expressed their feelings at that moment, fearing the wrath of the fairy Kizran. Asif, sensing the negative emotions overwhelming his friends, said, "I will avenge her, even if I have to fight him alone." Moments of silence stretched between them until Sarabi whispered, "You won't be alone, Asif. I'm with you." Kizran did not show anger at Sarabi's intervention. The sage said, "Fairy Kizran, look, Sarabi has spoken." "Silence, you." The sage laughed nervously again and said, "All right, sorry." Kizran looked at Asif and said, "To succeed in defeating Fong of the Elephant, you must convince the emperors to ally with you." "How do I convince them?" "You go and speak to them." "Where are they?" "In the city of Waber." "The city of Waber?" "It's an underground city where the emperor's family is hiding." "They're hiding?" Asif asked, surprised. "Hiding from what?" "From Tughan, because he wants to eliminate them." "And you want me to ask for their help when they're afraid of him?" "Tughan is currently in the weakest phase of his reign. There are significant divisions within his army due to the injustice he inflicts upon them. Moreover, most cities and villages of the Ababil kingdom are suffering from poverty and need because of the violations committed by the Gatham against them. Therefore, there is hope that you can overcome him if you succeed in convincing the emperor's family to ally with you." "Why does he want to eliminate them?" "They are the rightful kings of Ababil, and he wants to eliminate them so they don't wake up from their slumber one day and decide to reclaim what was their fathers and ancestors. If they are the only way to achieve my revenge, why did you ask me to search for you and not them?" "Because I am the only one who can arrange a meeting for you with them." "All right," he said enthusiastically. "I want you to arrange a meeting for me with them." "Meeting them won't be that easy." "What do you mean?" "There's a condition you must agree to first." "What condition?" "I can't tell you. You must agree to it before you know it." "How can you expect me to agree to something I don't know?" "If you want to arrange a meeting with the emperor's family, you must agree to the condition before knowing what it is." Then she added, as if warning him, "And you must also know that if you agree to hear the condition, you will never be able to withdraw from it." "What happens if I withdraw?" "You will die, and your friends will die with you." Asif hesitated, unsure of how to proceed. He said, "If death were only for me, I would have agreed without thinking. But I won't burden my friends beyond their capacity." Sarabi interrupted him, whispering, "Agree, Asif. We won't let you down."